Welcome to the online K-12 Basic Education Curriculum for the Alternative Learning System, ALS K-12. Learning Strand 1, Communication Skills English. Module. Are you a critical reader? Lesson 1. Imperfect or incomplete information. What is this module about? Can you imagine a world without newspapers, magazines, and books? Every day, we read materials that give us varied information. Through reading, we get to know what is happening around us and around the world. As we read, we become well-informed and are challenged to think. When we think about what we read and choose what has value to us, we grow and develop. We become intelligent readers. Would you like to learn some ways of getting the most out of your reading? In this module, you will learn how to become an intelligent reader. You will be able to determine the value and relevance of what you read. We call this critical reading. This module will help you to develop the basic skills in critical reading. It will help you to become a critical reader. You need to study the following lessons. Lesson 1, Imperfect or Incomplete Information. Lesson 2, Critical Reading Strategies. Lesson 3, The Relevance and Worth of Ideas. Ask yourself, how will I profit from this module? Think of great men and women who contributed a lot to make our lives easier now than before. What was their secret? They engage in deep thinking as they read and observe their environment. Their thinking activities created new ideas, and their ideas were translated into inventions, which you and I are enjoying today. So think, read, and think again. Look for the answers to your whys. Develop your reading and thinking skills now. Who knows, you may discover the greatness in you. Let's watch the 7 Filipino inventions. Let's watch a supplemental video about the 7 Filipino inventions. What can you learn from this module? After going through this module, you should be able to Identify the imperfect information in text read. Use different critical reading strategies in solving problems, and evaluate the relevance and worth of ideas in reading materials. Let's see what you already know. Before you start this module, take this pre-test to find out how much you already know about critical reading. Take a comfortable position, relax, and prepare yourself to read. Read the passage below. In reading, students have their own techniques that are important in solving their reading problems. One of these techniques is finding the meaning and significance of new and difficult information. When they find the meaning and significance of information, they can better retain and recall ideas they read. Moreover, they can make important decisions based on the information they have read. When thinking thoroughly about the information they have read, they make a decision. They may either choose to analyze it logically, example, page by page, or section by section, and establish connections between the ideas in those pages, or they get a global or general picture or a bird's eye view of the reading materials by skimming. When they use both or either of these techniques, their understanding of information read comes more easily. Thus, it is important that students use both or either of these techniques to make their reading experience significant. Otherwise, they become miserable because of their unsolved reading problems. Now that you've read the paragraph, answer the following questions. Number 1. Which sentence tells you the text is all about? Give the number of the sentence. Number 2. What sentence can be omitted without affecting the flow of thought? Number 3. Why is it important for a student like you to make a sense or give meaning to new and difficult information? Number 4. Can you guess the meaning of the word logically? What words in the text help you guess the meaning of the term? Number 5. What words have the same meaning with the word global? Number 6. What word in sentence 1 gives you the meaning of significant? Number 7. How can a student like you make your reading task easier? Number 8. What sentence contains unsupported generalizations and exaggerations? Well, how was it? Do you think you fared well? Compare your answers with those in the answer key. Number 1. Which sentence tells you what the text is all about? Give the number of the sentence. If your answer is sentences 1 and 9, you got the correct answer. Well done, you received 2 points. Sentences 1 and 9 contain the main idea of the passage. Number 2. What sentence can be omitted without affecting the flow of thought? If your answer is sentence 10, give yourself 2 points. This is the correct answer. Try to read the passage again without reading sentence 8. Does it still make sense? It does, doesn't it? Number 3. Why is it important for a student like you to make a sense of or give meaning to a new and difficult information? If your answer is found in sentences numbers 3, 4, and 9, give yourself 6 points. You got the right answer. It is important to process new and difficult information. It helps you remember and recall that you read. It guides you in making decisions, and it makes your reading experience significant and purposeful. Number 4. Can you guess the meaning of the word logically? What words in the text help you guess the meaning of the term? If your answer is yes, and found in sentence 6, page by page, or section by section, or logically, give yourself 8 points. You are indeed a keen reader. Number 5. What words have the same meaning with the word global? If your answer is found in sentence 7, global and bird's eye view, you got the correct answer. Give yourself 4 points. Number 6. What word in sentence 1 gives you the meaning of significant? The correct answer is important. If you have this as your answer, give yourself 2 points. Number 7. How can a student like you make your reading task easier? If you're right, by using either logical or global technique or both, you got the right answer. Give yourself 2 points. Number 8. What sentence contains unsupported generalizations and exaggerations? If your answer is sentence 10, give yourself 2 points. This sentence is unsupported. It contains an exaggeration. Miserable. This is the author's opinion, and it may not necessarily be true or has no basis. Well, how was it? Do you think you fared well? Compare your answers with those in the answer key. If all your answers are correct, very good. This shows that you already know much about the topic. You may still study the module to review what you already know. Who knows, you might learn a few more new things as well. If you got a low score, don't feel bad. This means that this module is for you. It will help you understand important concepts that you can apply in your daily life. If you study this module carefully, you will learn the answers to all the items in the test and a lot more. Are you ready? You may begin lesson 1. Lesson 1. Imperfect information. Have you ever read something you did not understand because the information was not complete, or it was confusing or not relevant to the topic? Did you ever get confused because the data presented was not correct? Did you get bored reading an article because it had so many details? If you did, you must have read some materials with imperfect information. In this module, you will explore how to detect imperfect information. You will identify what is wrong with the information. After going through this lesson, you should also be able to describe different kinds of imperfect information. Inadequate or incomplete information. Inaccurate or incorrect data presented in a text. Exaggerated and crowded details, and illogical presentation of information. Identify conflicting information in a text. Let's read. Carefully read passage 1 below. See if you can do what it tells you to do. Passage 1. This exercise is called waving hands by the lake. It is good for regulating breathing and maintaining the balance of blood pressure. It is also good for strengthening the function of the kidney, calming the nerves, and relieving knee arthritis or pains. Do this exercise daily. After reading the passage, do you think you can do the exercise? Why not? What is needed so that you can perform the exercise correctly? Have you written that more information is needed? If you did, you're right. The passage contains imperfect information. You need more information to perform the exercise described in the passage correctly. Now read the passage 1 again, then read its revised version below passage 2. Here is how to exercise waving hands by the lake. First, stand with feet apart, hands down. Next, breathe slowly. Inhale the fresh air. Think that you are breathing the breeze by the lake. Then, exhale it gradually. Now, slowly raise your arms to chest level. Bend your knees to lower your hips. Again, breathe slowly, filling the air in and out of your lungs. Next, slowly put your hands down to your side. And return to original position. As you go back to your former position, breathe slowly again. Let's watch a supplemental video. How does passage 2 compare with passage 1? If you answer that passage 2 is easier to read, understand, and do because it has more information, you are correct. Now stand up, review the instructions given on the previous page. Then try to perform the exercise as described after reading each line. This will help you remember each step of the exercise by heart. Let's try this. Collect articles about an activity from magazines, newspapers, and books. Collecting recipes from cookbooks would be a good start. Read them and see if you can detect any imperfect or incomplete information in any of them. If you have questions, approach your instructional manager. Let's watch a supplemental video about a flourless Milo cake. Let's read. You received this letter from your aunt inviting you to spend summer vacation with her. March 2018. Dear Pedro, how are you? I'm glad that your classes will be over soon. Have you made any plans for this summer? On the first week of April, San Roque, our town, will celebrate its annual fiesta. There will be lots of food. I heard that the town mayor has organized variety shows and other activities. I'm sure it would be fun. Your cousins from Mindanao are coming over for the fiesta. Would you like to come too? I know that you would be traveling alone. If you plan to come here, just go to the pier and buy a ticket. I can't wait to see you. Love, Aunt Miling. Let us assume that you haven't been to Aunt Miling's place. What is lacking in her letter? Aunt Miling must have been so excited that she forgot to write her exact address and the complete directions on how to get there. This is another example of incomplete information. It would be easier for you if all the information you need has provided. Wouldn't it? In this case, what would be the best thing to do? If you answer that you're going to write Aunt Miling and ask for complete directions, that's good. Do you now realize how important getting complete information is? Let's look another one and read on. Let's read. Mrs. Wee and Mrs. T have a telephone conversation. Read their dialogue below. Let's read. Mrs. Wee and Mrs. T had a telephone conversation. Read their dialogue below. Hello, good morning. May I talk to Mrs. T, please?
Yes, this is Mrs. T.
Mrs. T, what's your birthday?
January 10, 1957. What?
I'm sorry, Mrs. T. Your application for a housing loan was disapproved.
Why?
Because the data in your application form is inaccurate. You wrote as your birthday January 10, 2000. I'm sure you're not only 8 months old.
Good heavens, I filled out the form with the wrong information. I must have been absent-minded.
I'm sorry, Mrs. T.
Next time, I'll read through the application form and fill it out correctly before submitting it. This is an embarrassing situation. I must learn from it. Goodbye, Mrs. T.
Why did Mrs. T's application for a housing loan not approve? She unintentionally wrote the wrong information in her application for a housing loan. Have you had the same experience? We sometimes experience this during examinations, don't we? When we give the wrong answers, we get a low score and low grades. So, we should always see to it that we check and recheck information we give and get. There's nothing wrong in being meticulous or overly careful anyway. This will make things run smoothly with minimal hassles. What lesson can you learn from getting and giving information with omissions and mistakes? Mrs. T lost the chance to own a house because she gave wrong information. Let's learn from her experience. Now, let's look at another one. Read on. Let's try this. Read the passage and find out what happened. When we got to the hospital, my mom was jumpier than a Mexican jumping bean. But then we saw that Grandma was awake. Mom's face lit up like a light bulb. And when Grandma hugged me, my heart lit up like a volcano, ready to erupt. Can you tell what happened? Did you clearly understand the passage? Why not? If you say that you did not understand it because it uses many unnecessary words, you are right. Can you identify the exaggerated words or phrases that are really not necessary? Write these words or phrases in the spaces below. 1. Jumpier than a Mexican jumping bean. 2. Like a light bulb. 3. Like a volcano ready to erupt. Let's try this. Try to replace these phrases in the previous paragraph with just 1 or 2 words and see the difference. Fill in the blanks with the appropriate words or phrases. Choose from the list below. Smiled, become calm, worried, happy, beat fast. Cried, remain calm, crying, sad, beat slowly. When we got to the hospital, my mom was worried. But when we saw that Grandma was awake, Mom smiled. And when Grandma hugged me, my heart beat fast. Passages that are simply written are often preferred. They are direct to the point and easy to understand. Unnecessary and exaggerated words make the passage confusing and harder to understand. Based on what you have just learned, can you think of one quality of a good reader? A critical reader can identify passages containing exaggerations. She knows how to replace flowery and excessive details with simple words to make the main idea in a passage clear and more understandable. Let's read. Read the passage and find out what the main idea is. When you do your reading, you need to answer the comprehension questions at the end of the passage. Then, go to the library and look for difficult words in the passage. Next, draw your conclusion based on your readings. Finally, read the passage. What is the main idea of the paragraph? Does the paragraph have a smooth flow of development of its main idea? No, the paragraph does not make sense at all. Something is wrong with the presentation of details. They are not logically arranged. Illogical arrangement of details can give you imperfect information. What should you do first when you have a reading task? Yes, you have to read the passage first before you can answer the comprehension questions. Then, you write the words you don't understand and look them up in the dictionary, don't you? Finally, you draw your conclusion after reading and rereading the passage closely. Another example of imperfect information is a passage that contains conflicting information. Read the example below. Anna is 3 years old. She was asked by her mother to go to the market to buy food and other groceries for the coming town fiesta. Can you identify the conflicting information in the above passage? What could be the conflict? Hannah cannot go to the market and buy food and groceries because she is only 3 years old. A 3-year-old girl is still too young to handle money and buy things on her own, unless there is additional information given. Then the above passage is conflicting and therefore illogical. When you read a material in which the items are not arranged in an orderly way or contains conflicting information, what do? Do you just ignore it and continue reading, or do you try to make sense out of it? Let's try this. Read the passage below and identify the sources of confusion by underlining the words, phrases, or sentences. Write whether these are exaggerated or unnecessary, contain incomplete information, or contain conflicting information. Number 1. The best way to reach the town of Maligaya is to take a jeepney ride from Malibuso. You can also take a bangka ride. Maligaya is a town bursting at the seams with activities. It is like a sleeping giant. The first sentence should be underlined. It contains incomplete information. There is no explanation about the exact location of Malibuso. In fact, there is no information on whether Malibuso is a nearby town or locality. The second sentence should be underlined. It contains conflicting information. If the town of Maligaya is accessible by jeep or a bangka ride, does not make sense unless additional information is given. Bursting at the seams is a metaphor and is in this case an exaggeration. Like a sleeping giant is a simile that conflicts with a town bursting at the seams with activities. Additional information is required to make this passage understandable and logical. Let's try another one. Identify the sources of confusion. Underline them. Number 2. Mang Jose is a farmer who is as poor as a rat. He has 3 children who all go to exclusive schools. Mang Jose is kind and generous to his neighbors. He sells them water from his new well. He donates a lot of money to charity. Mang Jose is indeed Robin Hood personified. Were you able to identify the sources of confusion in the second passage? The first sentence contains the phrase as poor as a rat. This is a simile. It clearly describes Mang Jose's financial condition. The entire second sentence should be underlined. It contains conflicting information. How could Mang Jose send his children to exclusive schools if he is as poor as a rat? The fourth sentence is entirely in conflict with the third sentence and should be underlined. If Mang Jose is indeed generous, he could have given water to his neighbors for free, couldn't he? The fifth sentence is also in conflict with the first sentence. Robin Hood is a metaphor. Robin Hood is a literary character who steals from the rich to give to the poor. In this case, it is not only exaggerated information, it is also in conflict with the other information given. Were you able to understand the second passage? Can you now identify conflicting and incomplete information in other passages that you read? Answer the quiz portion to see what you have learned about imperfect information. Choose the letter of the correct answer. Participate in the discussion forum thread by answering the following questions. Have you ever read something you did not understand because the information was not complete? Thank you very much for watching. Credits. Special thanks to all the people who made and released these awesome resources for free. Department of Education, deped.gov.ph for the teaching guides and modules. Presentation template by freepowerpointtemplates.design.com, slidescarnival.com. Photographs by facebook.com. Videos source from YouTube, Tai Chi Gong Shibashi. 30 pesos no bake Milo cake by Mortar and Pastry. Baby doing grocery shopping supermarket song.